Fat Joe bringing out Remy Ma instantly turned the whole vibe up another level. Then that DJ Envy clip dropped and suddenly everything started feeling even more layered and messy. This is exactly where the situation starts getting wild. So that clip showed DJ Envy posting Remy Ma stepping out, lean back playing, fully owning the stage like it was her moment. The crowd went crazy right away, energy through the roof, nothing calm about it at all. It felt bigger than a normal entrance, like something underneath was being hinted at. Then Remy Ma grabbed the mic and started addressing the crowd directly. She went into a freestyle, dropping lines that had people instantly raising eyebrows. Music, right there you could feel the shift in the room. She leaned into that idea that comedians always hide truth inside jokes, mixing humor with subtle messages that people catch later online, and then she aimed a line at DJ Envy that sounded playful but still carried sharp energy at the same time. It didn't feel like random talk anymore. The tone alone made people start questioning everything instantly, like, wait, is she joking or sending a message? Because when something sounds that specific, it lands differently than normal comedy. And you can't ignore the bigger picture either. The Breakfast Club has been moving a little chaotic lately. Their coverage of Claressa Shields got people talking, and that whole Rick Ross situation only added more tension. Reports even said Remy Ma and her team responded through Lauren LaRosa. So this definitely didn't come out of nowhere or feel random. Everything connected back into the same conversation, and that's exactly why people started watching every detail more closely. And then she aimed a line at DJ Envy that sounded playful but still carried sharp energy at the same time. It didn't feel like random talk anymore. The tone alone made people start questioning everything instantly, like, wait, is she joking or sending a message? Because when something sounds that specific, it lands differently than normal comedy. And you can't ignore the bigger picture either. The Breakfast Club has been moving a little chaotic lately. Their coverage of Claressa Shields got people talking, and that whole Rick Ross situation only added more attention. Reports even said Remy Ma and her team responded through Lauren LaRosa. So this definitely didn't come out of nowhere or feel random. Everything connected back into the same conversation, and that's exactly why people started watching every detail more closely.
So with that Remy Network, dog in the yard.
A lot of y'all fuck with it, you know what I mean? A lot of y'all motherfuckers wasn't on the yard. Y'all wasn't allowed to go on the yard. Y'all know it, listen, I don't make...
Yeah, you know it. You know, yeah. Listen, I ain't even making this up. The real question now is what actually happens next here. Who is DJ Envy gonna respond on The Breakfast Club, or is he just gonna stay quiet acting like nothing happened here? Now Remy Ma claims there's no beef at all and she's still friends apparently, but let's be real, comments like that don't just pop out of nowhere though. There's usually something behind it and people are definitely watching closely now. Now here's where things start getting a bit strange. Everybody who showed up and showed out has the timeline filled with fresh moments from last night, but then people start noticing something else that feels off. Why is Papoose on Instagram stories posting those old concert clips? Not just anything either, but clips from way back, like when Busta Rhymes brought him out, or older performances where he was getting tagged. The timing on this feels really questionable when everything online is focused on Remy Ma right now. It makes people stop and look twice, like, wait a minute, why drop throwback moments right when Remy Ma is trending from a big live appearance? That doesn't feel random at all, especially when the spotlight is clearly on her. And this isn't even the first time people have noticed this pattern. When Remy Ma got attention at a Cardi B show and was everywhere in photos, here comes Papoose again posting a random clip, this time tied to Cardi B too, but from a totally different moment. It's like every time her name starts heating up, something pops up on his side. That timing didn't go unnoticed and people definitely started talking about it. So yeah, you know it, Remy Ma is outside grabbing attention, support and buzz from April Fool's Comedy Jam, and honestly she still has presence, she still has motion, and people still know her name. Heavy Remy Ma still carries weight, no question about it. But then suddenly Papoose pops up posting old concert clips like it's supposed to match what's happening now. Throwback footage, years back moments people barely remember. It doesn't hit same in middle of current hype, and people notice it every single time. People are even saying instead of pulling up old stage clips, music, there were clearly better options he could have chosen, like interviews, recent appearances, anything current, but picking those clips right now is what's making people raise eyebrows and connect dots. And here's what really stands out: the crowd energy. Music, you could hear that Barclays crowd, no coincidence at all. You could see how they reacted, they were locked in, they knew every word, and they were fully tuned into Remy Ma the second she stepped out. That kind of reaction doesn't just happen randomly, it comes from real recognition and a catalog people actually remember and respect. When an audience reacts like that, it basically says everything without music needing extra explanation, word for word, line for line. That crowd knew exactly what was happening. Every lyric landed, every moment hit right, and energy stayed strong from start to finish. That kind of reaction can't be music forced, and definitely can't be recreated just by posting random clips online. Music, it's a different level of connection. Now when people start comparing, that's where things get a little uncomfortable. A lot of people are saying the main reason Papoose had that level of public support before was tied to his connection with Remy Ma. That image, that storyline, that power couple vibe carried real weight for a long time, but now with everything shifting and new angles coming into focus, people are looking closer, asking different questions. They are tracking timing patterns and how moves line up with what Remy Ma has going on. That's where the conversation gets louder, because every time Remy Ma has a big moment, whether it's a major appearance or crowd reaction going heavy, something else shows up. Something else pops up at the same time, and to a lot of people that feels way too calculated. That's why some are saying it looks like an attempt to redirect attention instead of just letting her moment be what it is. Then you've got people questioning priorities too. If everything is solid on that side, why not stay fully present in current situations instead of focusing on older moments? That's the part people keep coming back to, because the timing and those choices just aren't adding up for them. At the end of the day, the internet is watching everything in real time, and when moves don't line up the way people expect, the reactions always get loud. So this whole situation ends up giving people plenty to talk about, from the surprise performance to all the online reactions and everything in between, and that's exactly why this conversation is not slowing down anytime soon. Music. Once people start spotting patterns, they don't just let it go. They start watching every move even closer. Now the focus is shifting away from just what happened on stage to what's happening behind the scenes. People are now paying attention to who is posting what, when they are posting it, and how it connects with everything else going on. Timing is starting to matter just as much as the actual content, because if it was just one random post, nobody would really care, but when it starts looking consistent, music, that's when it turns into a much bigger conversation. People start questioning if these moves are intentional or if it's all just coincidence. Music. And right now most people are not really buying that it's just luck. At the same time, Remy Ma's moment is still holding strong. That performance didn't just happen and disappear, it stayed with people. The clips are still circulating. The reactions are still coming in, and the energy from that night is still being talked about. That kind of staying power says a lot. It shows the moment connected beyond just the live crowd. It carried over online, and that's what actually keeps someone in the spotlight. Music. So when something else starts popping up during that same window, it naturally gets compared, not because people are trying to force drama, but because the contrast is just too easy to notice.
But the crazy,
I'm not in there. She was in there like this. The thing part, she was like out the coffin.
you thought I was dead. Wait,
That's crazy.
so I shook my head at the coffin, and then when we walked by and they opened it up and she had the bottles like that, I was like, this is just, y'all doing too.
Wait, so let's break it down, because that moment where I shook my head at the coffin and then walked past and they opened it up and she had the bottles set like that, I was like, now this is really y'all doing the absolute most. On one side, you got a live crowd fully locked in, reacting in real time, knowing every single word. Music. And on the other side, you've got old footage being pulled back into the conversation like it's brand new, and for a lot of people watching, those two things just don't hit the same. That's where opinions start forming. Some people say it's harmless, just memories being posted. Others feel like there's something more strategic going on. And once those two sides form, the debate only gets louder. It also doesn't help that social media moves at lightning speed. Every post, every clip, every caption gets broken down instantly. There's no real gap anymore between action and reaction, so everything starts feeling connected even if it was never meant to be. That's just how the internet operates right now, and as long as Remy Ma keeps having visible moments, people are going to keep watching everything around those moments too, not just her but everyone tied to her name. Because at this point, it's not just about one performance or one post. Music. It's about the pattern people think they are seeing and whether that pattern actually continues. Music. And this is where everything starts looping back in, because now it's not just one night, one post, or one reaction, it's all of it stacking together into a bigger picture. People can't stop talking about it. First, it just looked like another surprise performance. Remy Ma steps out, crowd goes wild, clips start trending, and that was supposed to be it. But with everything else happening around it, people start looking at that same moment differently. They replay it not just for the performance but for what it might represent, because when you really think about it, nothing about that night felt small. The stage, the lineup, the energy, everything felt like it had weight, and Remy Ma didn't just appear quietly. She made sure her presence was felt in a way that stayed with people long after it ended. That's why the reaction didn't fade like usual, it kept building. Every clip, every repost, every conversation added another layer, and once other names got pulled and it stopped being just entertainment, now it became perception. Who looks aligned, who looks out of sync, who seems to be moving different when the spotlight hits, and whether people admit it or not, those details shape how everything is being judged. Remy Ma on her side looks like she's fully back in that space where every move gets attention. The Barclays reaction wasn't forced, it wasn't quiet, it was the kind of energy that reminds people exactly who they are watching. And when that kind of energy returns, it shifts everything. It changes how people talk, how they compare, and how they reevaluate old narratives. At the same time, the focus on Papoose isn't just about what he posted, it's about timing, because if those posts dropped on a normal day, nobody would care, but dropping right when Remy Ma is trending made people pause and start forming opinions. And once those opinions spread, they don't stay small. Social media turns small observations into full-blown conversations. Everyone adds their take, everyone builds on it, and suddenly it becomes a storyline. Then you bring DJ Envy into it, and it adds even more weight, because now it's not one connection, it's multiple. It starts feeling like everything is overlapping at once. Music, and that overlap is exactly what keeps people locked in. Music. They are watching to see if anyone responds, if anything gets addressed, or if everything just continues without explanation, because silence can speak just as loud as words. If nothing gets clarified, people fill in the blanks themselves, and those assumptions spread faster than facts. That's why every move from here matters more than ever, whether it's a post, a comment, or even no response. People will read into it, and at the center of all of this is still that original moment, Remy Ma stepping out and changing the energy in the room. That's what started it all. That's the moment everything spun out from everything else, just added layers on top. The reactions, the posts, the conversations, all of it built around that one appearance. So now it's less about what happened and more about what happens next, because one thing is clear: people are watching everything in real time. Every move, every detail, every shift gets noticed, compared, and discussed. And when things start lining up too perfectly or feel slightly off, people call it out instantly. That's just how it works now. So whether this grows into something bigger or slowly fades, one thing is certain: that moment at Barclays didn't just entertain, it sparked a conversation that pulled in multiple angles, multiple names, and multiple reactions all at once. And once a moment hits that level, it doesn't disappear, it sticks, it grows, and it keeps people watching to see what happens next.